There has been one major change for this Toronto Raptors team, and regardless of all the potential moves and trades that could be incoming, the schedule getting tougher, this is something Masai Ujiri wants to stay. And it might impact winning, it might impact the tank, but it is something that the Raptors needed to figure out over the course of this season, and frankly, will be a positive for this team moving forward into the future. So we're going to dive into what's been changing for the Toronto Raptors, how this squad is looking right now after their 5th straight win. That's right, folks. Get ready for it, because there's a pizza party happening once again out here for this Toronto Raptors team. We have won 5 straight games, beating the Washington Wizards, and regardless, I'll break down what's going on with the tank, because some people are frustrated that we're winning games. Of course, a lot of people are hoping to capture that flag, to lose some games, to get this stuff rocking. The Raptors are in a very interesting position, and we'll break down where they're kind of stationed at after this win against the Washington Wizards. So lots of stuff to dive into in this video, but before we do, folks, again, if you guys are a part of the 67% of our viewers that haven't hit the subscribe button just yet, and you want to stay up to date with everything that's going on with this Toronto Raptors team, make sure you guys hit that sub button. So, we got some madness. There's been a lot of stuff dropping as of late, and we want to keep you up to date with everything that's going on. So let's dive into this, because the Toronto Raptors, unsurprisingly, just absolutely slapped around the Washington Wizards. Scottie Barnes was an absolute beast. There was a lot of positive takeaways from this game, but the one thing that really caught my eye in this one, it's been catching my eye in recent games and was a big eyesore early on in the season for the Toronto Raptors, is not only the effort and energy, because I feel like this team has actually been having solid effort, solid energy for a big chunk of this year, but the biggest change this season has really been Darko Rajaković just figuring out how to get this team to defend. Now, a part of this is certainly more veteran, experienced players actually out there in the lineup. And we could take a look at, the actual team that we had fielded out there on the court today for the Toronto Raptors, right? Scottie Barnes, Jakob Poeltl, Davion Mitchell, Ochai Agbaji, and RJ Barrett. There are no excuses for this team ever having a poor defense out there for the squad. That's starting unit. And then off the bench, you're bringing in Bruce Brown for serious minutes. Orlando Robinson, really an impact guy out there on the defensive end. Jamal Shead, of course, even though he's a rookie, won Defensive Player of the Year in college. Chris Boucher getting 15 minutes. That is just the level of talent compared to what we had early on in the season. There's a defensive upgrade compared to the depleted rosters we were putting out there on the court earlier in the year. So that's one factor. But even when we had some healthy rosters, especially over the course of that December stretch, this team looked horrific out there on the defensive end. And I want to give some flowers tonight, because Scottie Barnes, 24 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists in 29 minutes. And this entire game, the Raptors, right from the jump, put their foot on the throats of the Washington Wizards and just didn't let them get going. But frankly, Scottie Barnes deserves a lot of praise, deserves a lot of credit for the level of impact he's bringing out there on the defensive end. He has that size, he has that athleticism, he has that strength, and he has the build for a guy that should be an elite defender. And he's a high IQ basketball player. He's been that since he's came into the NBA. But at times, we've seen him get blown by out there on the defensive end. We've seen him, take a couple possessions off. But really, especially the past couple games, man, Scottie Barnes has been locked in. He's been coming out, bringing the energy, and just on the defensive end of the floor is showing a serious impact. He's making some game-changing plays out there on that end of the floor. So I want to give praise to Scottie Barnes there. And then, of course, Ochai Agbaji, who Masai Ujiri said is someone in the NBA in last season's it wasn't the postseason, the end of season press conference. He mentioned how Ochai Agbaji has that, league-defining on-ball defensive upside. He has the potential to be one of the top defensive players in the entire NBA. And he's not sounding crazy for saying that here right now. Ochai Agbaji, again, has been in a weird spot rotation-wise for this team, especially where people have gotten back healthy. He's been off the bench. He's had a phenomenal year thus far, and has stayed steady as an elite defender for this team, but the offense is come and go. Tonight, Ochai Agbaji did have a very, very solid performance in this one. 24 minutes, 4 of 8 shooting from the field, 3-7 from the three-point line, 12 points, 3 steals, and again, him and Scottie Barnes out there on the wings as that main sort of forward tandem, hounding guards, hounding whoever the heck they're switched onto. They just had a serious impact on this game. So Ochai Agbaji, Scottie Barnes, I thought defensively really brought it. And then, of course, Davion Mitchell, Jamal Shead, the two-headed snake there at the point guard positions. they just do a phenomenal job. They do a phenomenal job. Jakob Poeltl does a phenomenal job anchoring the defense. Playing up against Jonas Valanciunas tonight. Also, the Wizards, they were pretty desperate in this one. They were switching to zones. They were switching to a bunch of different defensive coverages. Jakob Poeltl was in the middle of those zones, and frankly, he was making some gorgeous passes. There was a really nice back cut from Shead. Jakob Poeltl was able to hit. There was just a lot of nice plays that were done by this core unit, this core lineup. And defensively, I've kind of said it, that this is where the criticism of Darko Rajaković I was coming out at the start of the season, I wasn't a big fan of, because he didn't have a roster that was, one, experienced enough, two, consistently out there on the court enough to really be able to execute the right way. And now we're seeing, in a very disjointed season, a crazy season in the midst of tons of trade rumors, Darko Rajaković has been able to put together, I'll play the animation again. We're putting the party back on. Forget the offensive side. We talk about players having a lot of nights, stretches over the course of the season. He's done a really good job on defense. And it passes the eye test. It passes the numbers. Like, we're holding teams to very reasonable scoring amounts. I mean, I know it's the Wizards. They're not, the pinnacle of great basketball, but they had 82 points in 2025. 82 points in a game in 2025. I don't care how bad your team is. A good high school team is putting those types of numbers up. So, that's a testament to what Darko Rajaković has been able to do over the course of the season. There's full buy-in from the entire team, from the entire squad, despite the fact, this team is tanking. It's been that's the direction of the message. I've seen a lot of people in the comment section turn on this now, and some people are, Ben, you're making stuff up with the Cooper Flag thing. So Jakob Poeltl talked about how this is a rebuilding year. There's a direct quote of that video. It was memed across the NBA. Jakob Poeltl talking about how we're probably not going to win a ton of games this year. Darko Rajakovic's direct quotes saying this is year one of a rebuild. That is verbatim what Darko Rajaković said to start off this season. And Masai's talked about, developing young players as the focus this season. That is the main priority for the squad. So we know that's the direction. We know that's the kind of approach for this team. So, even during a season like that, Darko Rajaković, when he's had the opportunity to have actual veterans out there on the court, not only is he, the team looking better, not only is the team looking competitive, we're actually getting wins. We're getting wins, and it's not against the craziest of competition, right? We could take a look at what's been going on for this Raptors team, but we've won 7 of our last 8 games on a 5-game win streak now at this point. And, the Hawks, the Magic, the Pelicans, they were depleted. The Wizards are just probably the worst team in basketball history at this point, it feels like. But, the Celtics was a nice win. The Warriors, a nice win. No, just for this team to rack off this stretch of wins, it's a huge, huge positive. And frankly, it's something that we need to remember as we go into as we pass this trade deadline. Because again, no one knows for certain what's going to happen. We've seen Masai Ujiri. If he doesn't get the offer he likes, he holds pat, and we see what just goes down. But all expectations are that the vets on this team are going to get dealt. You're not seeing Jamison Battle. You're not seeing Jonathan Mobo. You're not seeing a ton of Jacoby Walter. We saw him play tonight, but you're not seeing a ton of these guys right now because they're rooks and they're not affecting winning. And the Raptors are trying to go full tilt. Forget the rebuild, the development for the past couple weeks or so, because they want to win games. They want to showcase the talent that they have out there on the roster. And that makes a ton of sense. And that has frustrated some people because they look at the tankathon. It's like, guys, the Nets have passed us in the bottom of the standings. The Hornets have passed us in the bottom of the standings. What are we doing? Guys, it's January. It's still January right now. It's not even the trade deadline yet. There is tons of times for just poke your eyes out basketball where you are just sad, you are depressed watching this team. And when those times potentially come at the end of the year, which frankly I expect to happen, the reports expect to happen, just to remember, this team with the right role players in place was able to rag off this stretch of wins. This team is capable. This core group is capable. And that's what Masai Ujiri just wants to see. And we didn't even have Immanuel Quickley healthy. We didn't have everyone out there in the lineup. This team is capable when they have the right role players out there in the mix. And frankly, looking at the schedule again, it's about to be a bloodbath post-trade deadline, essentially, or, post the Bulls game on Friday. The schedule gets a lot tougher. So, again, this team, we'll see what they do at the trade deadline. We'll see what goes down, but I'd be shocked, just given how bad our December was, if we're going to be able to keep up this level of play, this level of performance. I hope we play this level of energy, but, I hope this defense stays locked in, even with the young guys. But young guys, even if they're locked in, they just make a ton of mistakes. That's just usually how it goes, but that's been a really nice change from what we saw early on in the season. So let me know what you guys think about this Raptors win, this Raptors stretch of games. You guys best think as far as subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.